Welcome back. This is By the Book, and we're your married relationship coaches. I'm Sent.
I'm Sel.
And today we're talking about Married at First Sight, the after party. This is the first episode's after party. And it looks like Keisha has changed up the format just a little bit. I hope they keep with it, bringing in the 3 women she started with, and then at the tail end of the show, bringing in 3 guys and talking to them about their experiences. It just gives us more to go on, more. I mean, we're so early, there's not much for us to gather right now, but I think as the show plays on, having 6 guests per after party would be awesome for me. Y'all let me know if y'all like that, but I enjoyed that.
I did too.
A lot more.
I did too, especially like you said, it wasn't that much for them to really cover. The couples haven't met each other yet. And so by that not having transpired, they definitely needed some fillers. So 6 guests, I could feel that.
Yeah. So also as a filler, I think she brought her husband on so they could jointly announce that they were pregnant, which we already knew. But, maybe she just wanted to say it officially and publicly. So congratulations to Keisha.
For sure.
That was cool. She started off the show, though, guys, with Nicole, Kirsten, and Jasmine. And they did not hesitate to jump right into the sex conversation that the girls all had together on the actual show. Really jumping in, I think, with Nicole and asking her how long it had been since she had sex. How long had it been since she moved to Nashville? And she said it was almost 2 years. Yeah. So, you catch those glances when there's been a extended period of abstinence. Whether you're a woman or a man, last year was Justin. This year it's Nicole and maybe even Chris. It's Chris, right?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. So, but I liked her answer. She talked about being very purposeful in her dating, and then also she had just moved at the beginning of the pandemic, so that kind of made it difficult for her. Yeah. It's unfortunate that she feels like she needs to justify it, but she's confident in her response. And I think last time when we were talking about Chris and his response to it, how he seemed timid and have to justify it, and uncomfortable with the conversation in and of itself, seeing her confidence in that by contrast to me is important. If you're abstinent and you're abstinent for a reason, just stand on that.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit easier for women to kind of give that proclamation and not receive any backlash, though.
She did. I think they were judging her. Even Keisha gave her a little shade.
I don't know. To me, it still seems like it's a little easier for women to say that than for men, especially in the midst of other men, because men are definitely going to kind of run them down, but what's wrong with you? You don't like girls? I mean, what is it? And so I think I did like the way she sounded off on it. She did stand on it, that she was looking for someone who is going to be relationship minded. And by all means, do that. I think a lot of times, you've heard me say time and time again, I think we lead with sex too much in our relationships. And then when they go sour, then we kind of shaking our head well, why? Well, because you didn't know this person before you actually engaged in sex with them. And that's probably some of the reason for the demise of the relationship. So, hey, I think it's cool.
Yeah, definitely respect to her. But, the more that he's comfortable, and I mean Chris, in his abstinence or whatever, and he's confident in it, the more that people will just respect that. If he projected confidence with his declaration of it's been a year, nobody would have said anything. I don't think. They may have gave a couple of glances, but they would have been like, hey, that's what he's doing.
Really, but you know what? He didn't seem too confident on just about anything.
I know. And that's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to talk about that as the show goes on.
Yeah.
They moved on to talking about Nicole's dating horror story, which I wouldn't really highlight, but I thought it was hilarious because she said she met the guy on a dating app. They went out. He had already been drinking. He had a pool party planned for after their date that he talked to her about, but didn't invite her to. And then when he couldn't get his Uber, he asked her to drive him to his place, still without an invite for her to come in. And that's wild to me. But this is what women have to deal with. I mean, that takes a lot of nerve.
Yeah, he wasn't feeling her at all.
At all. And he was drunk.
Yeah. But you know what? let me play devil's advocate just a little bit. Men have like stories like that too, when a woman is not feeling him.
Well, we didn't hear one today.
No, we didn't.
So.
No, we didn't. But men go through it too. Like if a woman is not feeling a man for whatever reason, he's too bald. We'll get into that later. But, you know, a woman can be pretty mean, you know, towards that man and not invite him to certain places, blow him off, not show him the proper respect. And so I do think it probably happens more to women than men, but I think it does happen to men as well.
I don't know. All we heard was poor Nicole tell her story, and I
poor
feel bad
Nicole. Now she's poor Nicole. Oh yes. My goodness.
Now they did talk about the Bachelorette party, which looked like a lot of fun. You and I talked a little bit about that last video. Keisha's husband chimed in and said it looked like every groom or groom-to-be's worst nightmare. Yeah. But, I mean, they're just having fun. And they even said, which we talked about before, Dominique, she did not get the stripper's number. At least that's the story that everybody's sticking to. And I don't think she did. I think, honestly, she's a 25-year-old. And I think that's how 25-year-olds party sometimes.
Okay, well, first of all, Kirsten and Jasmine were kind of unsure about her giving the stripper her number. And just from that, them being unsure and they were there, that says a lot.
But if you listen to what they said, they were like, there was so much going on. We really didn't even catch the stripper with her. They said that. No. They said there was a whole aerial show going on.
That is true.
You don't know what was happening. They were distracted. They probably watched that scene the same way we watched that scene, on TV, and we're like, "Whoa, okay, I don't know what happened. I can't really speak to that."
There's a woman's code, and they didn't want to go back on that woman's code and throw her under the bus.
What do y'all think? I don't think she gave that man her number.
She gave that man her number.
Things happen. At bachelorette parties.
I'm sure it probably was happening.
And it doesn't mean that numbers are exchanged or anything goes any farther than whatever you just saw. It's a bachelorette party.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You're going to see the stripper come out on Instagram with a full blow-by-blow on what really had happened. Yeah.
It was not that serious. My goodness.
We're going to find out.
Have you never been to a bachelor party?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've seen more than I probably
That's because y'all men don't know when to reel it in. Women know how to have fun and then cut it off.
For real?
Yes.
So women just have fun and then nothing else happens after the bachelorette party?
Often. Yes. That's how it goes.
Really? So women are above the taking the things too far?
Yeah, we're better than that. Obviously.
And she said it with a straight face.
Obviously, we're better than that.
Okay.
Keisha talks to Jasmine a little bit about her dating experiences. I guess she asked her about. And Jasmine was quick to say, she falls in love with someone's potential. However, when Keisha followed that up to ask her, do you like to fix people up? And she's like, no, I don't like to fix them. So Brad immediately followed up and asked her, but do you like a project? And she's like, no, I don't like a project, But I think she clearly does.
Yeah.
And she's just not willing to admit it. Maybe she doesn't like the way it sounds. Maybe she doesn't want it to be true. But I think it's very clear, based upon what she was saying, that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. I think it's probably one of those things of she meets someone, they seem okay, but they also show some red flags. Mm-hmm. She looks past those red flags and she engages in the relationship anyway.
Yeah.
And I think it's just kind of par for the course with a lot of women. And so even to go so far, you're probably going to jump in on her when she said that she lived with her ex or whatever for 1.5 years, I think she said. Mm-hmm. And so he has these red flags, but yet you've gotten into a relationship to the point where you're living with him.
I think so many women do. Mm-hmm. She's not the only one. I think, like I said, she just doesn't want to admit it. unfortunately, what does this mean for her relationship with Arris? Because I feel like he might be a fixer-upper type person. So this might be right up her alley, but at the end of the 8-week process, what does that mean for their marriage? Like, he still may not be ready.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope they didn't pair her with that fixer-upper type, and then she's right in her wheelhouse of what she's used to dealing with, but it's not good for her.
No, definitely. And we're gonna get into him a little bit later, so I'm gonna save my assessment. But y'all stay tuned. I got one for him as well. But I think with her, and I see so many women kind of like fall into this thing to where women want to progress to the next level, but you're kind of like doing things to say this is where you are, and the man is going to see you for where you are. And so if you want to be kind of like wife, then you can't play the role of the girlfriend. If you want to be a girlfriend, you can't play the role of a one night stand. And so you have to kind of like determine, or women have to determine, what is my value and what do I want, and then play that particular role. And I know it's hard,
they're playing the role now because they're getting married. They're getting married at first sight, so they don't have any room to not play that role.
That's true.
I just don't know, because like I said, I always see it as just like a probationary period. What that means as they reach that 8-week mark.
Yeah.
So all the ladies talked about being a little bit afraid to tell their dads what they were doing. And I would be too. I mean, this is not something that's easy to deliver to your family. Like, I probably would have let my mom tell my dad, to be honest. I wouldn't have wanted to tell my father either, because it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, what are you doing? So, but it was kind of sad to me that Kirsten talked about her dad, refusing to even take the COVID test so that he could be, I guess, approved to be in the space of the wedding. And she said she wasn't surprised at all that he refused to do that. Yeah. And I'm like, gosh. So she's grown up with an extremely stubborn man as an example. And I don't know how that's affected her, or potentially will have affected her in her relationships with men.
Yeah, it definitely could have an effect, particularly if we're going to see just how stubborn she could possibly be. Because we see her being very particular in what she wants and what she doesn't want. Very particular, especially with how he looks and how he presents. And so if you're going to be that particular on, I guess, the cosmetics of it, and there are some things that she kind of like said as far as him praying with her. There are some really good things in there, but a lot of what she's saying is surface level stuff. And so those things need to take a back seat and see the character of the person.
I mean, I think, though, it's fair for her to have her preferences, especially before she sees him. I mean, you can hope for whatever. And I think the test will be, if he doesn't measure up to exactly what she's looking for physically, is she able to adjust to it? Because like I keep saying, he's not a bad looking guy.
Yeah. He's
not just generally like offensive to look at. He's a decent looking guy, even if he doesn't check all your boxes for what you would prefer. Now, it was interesting to hear her say, I try to listen really carefully, y'all, like, because we know these are filmed like after the show. So I try to like grab anything I can to see like how they really receive the person. And I heard her say something like, well, I want him to have at least a little bit of like muscle tone,
athletic.
Yeah, a little, at least a little bit. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know. Because I didn't see him. I saw like he was in a jogger or something that, but I didn't really see like his fitness level.
Yeah,
I couldn't really tell if he was muscular or anything. So that might have been just a little bit of a tell, for something that she didn't like about him.
Yeah, right now in the preliminary stage, I do not think he's fitting the bill physically. If what she was looking forward to, and again, I do think she was looking for like a pretty boy. Now I ain't gonna say Drake again because y'all kind of came at me for the Drake thing, and so my wife said, what did you say, Michael B. Jordan? All right, so he ain't no Michael B. Jordan either. All right. And so he's not fitting this bill, I don't think, for what she's looking for. She's looking for a pretty boy-like type, and I don't think he is that for her. And so he's bald. She doesn't want a bald guy. And so, again, she even said that she's looking for someone that when they walk in the room that they're going to kind of like catch people's attention.
Easy on the eyes.
Easy on the eyes. And so again,
he ain't hard on the eyes.
Yeah, but he ain't the pretty boy thing. And so she's looking for someone who's very charismatic instead of looking for someone who has character. Those are two totally different things.
Those are different things, but I'm not going to completely sacrifice one for the other either. You're not going to come in here looking like Quasimodo.
Well, he doesn't look like Quasimodo. I know,
but if I thought he looked like Quasimodo, I wouldn't be like, well, he sure has good character, so that's going to carry up. Nope. She wants a little of both. Yeah. And I don't think she's wrong for doing that. She's a very attractive girl, and I think it's fair for her to want to be attracted to her spouse.
I don't see anything wrong with that either. But sometimes I think if you have a quality man, because I was about to say a high value man, if you have a quality man there who maybe doesn't who doesn't check off all your boxes physically, but he's a really decent guy. And like I said again, he has the character that you're looking for. I don't know if Shaq does or not. We're still early in this process. I'm just speaking hypothetically. But if character, he has this character, let's just say Shaq does, but he doesn't fit her boxes or check off all these boxes on a physical level, then why not make some concessions with him?
She probably would. It's just how many concessions does she have to make? So we'll see.
We're going to find out. We're going to find out.
I think women are much more gracious than you think they are in terms of allowing for things that they're not necessarily immediately attracted to.
I don't. Kirsten don't seem like she's.
Yeah, you haven't seen. Let's give her a chance. We'll see.
Queen Shallow about to show up, but go ahead.
So they moved on. They talked a little bit more to the ladies, but I want to move on to the guys. They brought on Arris, Shaquille, and McKinley. I finally said his name correctly.
They call him Mack, though.
Mack. Yeah. But I just wanted to say it right once, because I've been calling him Mackenzie and all kinds of other things. So, McKinley. And they talked about the guys and their sex talk, and they showed the clip where Chris said it had been 2 years for him and all the side eyes that he was getting for that. He wasn't on the show to speak up and defend himself, so they didn't harp on that or anything. But they immediately followed that up by highlighting the fact that both Arris and Clint had just had sex right before they got selected for the process. So 2 weeks before they got married. And I think a lot of people have concerns about them both just for that. And I don't know if that's fair. I mean, they're in the process. They may or may not get selected. They don't know the person. They don't have really any real loyalty to this person who may become their fiance. Yeah. So do I judge them for having sex 2 weeks before the wedding? I probably don't. I mean, I think you probably shouldn't be having random sex anyway, just generally. But if that's what you do, then that's what you do.
Yeah. I do get it. I do get it. I would just, for me personally, I think if a man or a woman is really contemplating just how ready and right they are for marriage, they're going to present that in all facets, especially not jumping in bed with someone who you're not going to really want to be in a relationship and see if this person is suitable for marriage for you. Yeah. Now, again, they are single. They can do whatever they want to do. And they definitely were doing that.
Well, I mean, to Arris's defense anyway, he said he had been seeing this young lady for about 5 weeks. Yeah. Is that early to have sex? Probably, but we're not going to get into that conversation.
Yeah.
They have a physical relationship. He doesn't know if he's going to get selected for the show, or so he says. So why wouldn't he continue?
That's my question. Why wouldn't he continue with the person who he just had sex with, and they were building a bond,
and then not get on the show,
and not go on the show?
Because he'd only known her for 5 weeks, and it's like.
But he doesn't know this other person at all.
I know, but he's got experts helping him.
Well,
I mean,
no, he's straight for TV. That's his. If that was his thing, then yeah, he's straight for TV, and he just wanted to get what he was gonna get, and he got it. You know.
I don't know. I'm not completely willing to throw him in the trash over that. He may get there, but this hasn't put him in the trash bag for me.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah. I'm not going to say he's in the trash bag with me either.
Yeah.
But I think he got 1 foot in.
Now, Clint, on the other hand, and I would love to have Clint on the show so we could hear from him, directly. But they definitely called him out for being the wildest person at the bachelor party, even so much as to, and he could have been drunk. I know people say crazy things when they're drunk, but to say to someone who asked if they were having sex that night that he might. So I think even for Arris, he was like, thinking that was kind of a wild thing for him to say. Yeah. So is he ready? Honestly.
No, if that was his mindset, he's getting married the next day. Yeah. No, I don't particularly think that is saying that he's ready. Can he get ready after that? Oh, yeah, sure. But at that particular time, no, I don't think he's ready. But let me also say that was definitely a violation of any type of man rule. I mean, if he's not even on the show to defend himself, but they're telling on him. I mean, come on now. I mean, if you're gonna have an issue with what he says, say it to him. Say it to him at the bachelor party. I know you probably just met him, but like, bro, that ain't right. I'm gonna say that before I get on national TV and kind of like just oust him in front of everybody. Yeah. That was kind of like cold. You violated every man rule that I could even think about.
He'll get his opportunity to speak up. We'll see. Maybe they don't like him. You don't know.
Even more so if you don't like him. I mean, because now you setting it up as far as, but although one of them did say that they did like him, so, but even more so if you don't like him and then you coming against him on TV, that's straight foul.
Okay, one thing I want to ask you about Arris is that, and they did talk about his cousin a little bit. It does seem that they're actually related cousins. So I suppose there's nothing inappropriate going on there. But one of the things he said, because he was asked about his readiness for getting married, and one of the things he said is that he was living in LA. He was single there. His friends were single there. It's like promoting a single lifestyle there, just kind of generally the feel of it. And he moved back to Nashville 4 months prior to this process, I suppose. And it slowed him down. It made him like sit and be by himself. And for him, like somehow the timing of that, and I guess maybe the loneliness of that, made him feel like he was ready to get married. And I thought that was interesting. I didn't really buy it, but what do you think?
I didn't buy any of that. Arris, this is what I was kind of like alluding to. Arris seems as though he's the type of guy that has never had to actually put in work on an actual relationship. Even the story where he said that he was with someone for 1.5 years, but it was a long distance relationship. And so you're not constantly in that person's presence. You're not constantly working at the relationship. You're not constantly getting better at your communication and functioning in a relationship. And unfortunately, when a man is just in, I'm going to say it, I'll call it a relationship, not a relationship, but engaging. Yeah. When a man is constantly engaging with women and having sex with women, but however, not being in a relationship, not maturing, the only thing he's developed in is the sexual aspect of the relationship. And so if you're wondering why a guy won't commit, or if you're wondering why a guy is not further along as far as being relationship savvy or having some type of relationship etiquette, that's the reason why. He's never had to mature. He's never had to grow in a relationship. He never had to be honest, completely honest, be vulnerable, and be able to healthily relate to a woman, because he's constantly looking at women as this object that's going to eventually please him sexually, gratify himself. And so he doesn't have to grow. He doesn't have to become what this woman is probably going to want from him eventually. And so he's, I think, one of those textbook cases of someone who's going to be stagnant and not be able to provide for a woman on an emotional level. I just don't see it. I hope he is, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, actually, I hate risking saying this, but I think that Jasmine will be good for him. Mm-hmm. I hope I'm right. And I think this process will show him something about himself that he probably hasn't had to see before. So I'm hopeful. Yep. I'm hopeful for them. I'm hoping that that's my power couple, because I don't know who else to pick.
I'm sorry. I have no power couple for this season.
I know, but when it's so early, it's going to happen. We're going to pick one.
You're going to pick one? I have no power. I have no couple. Okay? Nothing.
It was really sad to see Shaquille kind of break down about his grandma.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw him crying, that was the first thing I said. I was like, oh no, I hope she didn't pass away. And of course, that's what we found out happened. I don't know when during the process she passed away. You know what I mean? Like if the show was finished filming. Mm-hmm. But I'll bet if it happened during the process, it had a big impact on him trying to move forward with this. So I guess we'll see as the show goes on if that had any bearing on his relationship.
Yeah.
Because she was obviously very close and very important to him.
Yeah, that was very sad to see him break down like that. But I understand it. You know, especially if you're close to your grandparents like that. Yeah, hey.
Yeah, that's tough.
Shed those tears on that one. I definitely get that.
Yeah. So the last thing I want to talk about is Matt. We didn't talk about this when we talked about him in our last episode, but I thought it was interesting, his story about his girlfriend that got married on him. You know, I mean, how does this happen? And he went into a little bit of depth about it and saying that she cheated with this guy. The guy reached out to him, you know, which is weird because you're used to seeing that the gender roles flip there.
Yeah.
But it happened. The guy reaches out to him and exposes her. He says she was basically living with him. He decides to forgive her because this is stuff that he's done when he was younger. So I'm wondering, is this somebody who was significantly younger than him? And if so, Dominique is going to traumatize him because there's another one that's way younger than him.
Yeah.
But we saw him be very, very emotional when he first was talking about this. I think it was with Pastor Kyle, you know, and it felt very much like he wasn't over that situation. I don't know how long ago it was, but however long ago it was, he's not healed from it.
Exactly. What he says so much is he just kind of like got away from everything and he never really dealt with it. And that's a huge red flag going into a new relationship, let alone a marriage.
Yeah.
And so, I would say this though, the story he gave, it just didn't add up to me. I mean, some of the stuff made sense. Some of the other.
Do you think it wasn't true, or do you think he just stuck his head in the sand and played the fool? Because that's what it sounded like to me.
I think some of it was embellished a little bit. I really do. And again, you know me, when I hear somebody's story, not that they have time for it on this show, but I want to hear what you did wrong. I want to hear your aspect of where you went wrong. Why is this woman supposedly cheating on you? What did you say? What did you do? Are you sure you were living together? I don't know. It just don't add up to me. It don't make sense.
He seemed like the safe guy. Like she could live with him and still do what she wanted to do. Because if you have time to date somebody so heavy that they'll propose to you while you live with somebody else, you're obviously left to your own devices for a long time for another relationship to develop. So he seemed like just like
a doormat.
Yeah. And I hate to say that, but that's exactly what it seems like.
Yeah.
And too bad that they set him up with somebody who seems like they're not very interested, you know, because that's the last thing that he needs on his already broken heart is to have like all these triggers and these re-breaks happen again. But that's exactly where he looks like he's headed. So don't know what to say about that one. But guys, let us know your thoughts. We've been talking for a long time. This was an interesting episode. Like I said, I hope they keep up with this format. It is giving us much more insight in a short amount of time. So drop those comments below, like, share, and subscribe, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Bye.